What even is this thing? I cannot work on a species whose biology I've never studied. The doctor said, looking down at Human, who was being wheeled down the halls into the medical facility. We have all the notes on his anatomy in his computer. Use it to assist you with anything you need. Please just try doctor, Lizra said, looking over at the Illyrian doctor. All right, but I cannot say how long this will take. I don't even know where to begin with this. Leave the computer with me. You two will have to wait outside. It could be quite the wait. I'll take it from here. The door as the end of the hall swung shut, and the procession of doctors and assistants departed, leaving Lizra in the main lobby. They only hoped that the doctors there would be able to fix him, but there was nothing more that Lizra and Argal could do for him at this point. Patient is stable, antiviral and bacterial treatments administered, and I've applied burn dressings to 2 medial PWs lateral to the main ventral bone structure. 4th-degree burns at both PW locations. Surface-level scar tissue has been removed, further treatment required. Note DA Xanax, temporary solution. We're going to need more information before conducting a more extensive procedure to remove the charred bone and deeper necrotic tissue. Along with this, our scan noted a couple smaller wounds that may warrant our attention, as well as a foreign object within the central brain structure. Dr. Marza said, taking off her mask and gloves before checking the notes that her assistant had been writing during the operation. Dr. Marza, I've been reviewing the data within this computer and it's interesting. Well, strange would be a better way to put it, said one of the assistants. It doesn't look too odd, it just appears to be a smaller, less muscular version of an Indiran. However, the bone structure differs greatly from theirs. They must have originated from similar worlds nonetheless, she said, looking over a display of Human projected on her interface. In outward appearance, yes, but it's what's on the inside that is most intriguing. Actually, the closest genetic match to it is your species doctor. Illyrian? This thing is 5 times my height and looks nothing like me. I doubt we even came from the same type of system, let alone it being related to me, she replied. I mean, yes, it has a different number of chromosomes, but certain structures within point towards a distant common ancestor, likely millions of years apart. Like you, it has adrenal glands, and until now that was exclusive to your species. It also shares the same neuron density as an Illyrian, albeit with a much larger brain. Your cellular makeup is nearly identical. Centrosomes, lysosomes, mitochondria, all of these lead me to believe it comes from your world. I'll take it from here, Yuri. Thank you for the information. Clear my appointments for the day and give them to Dr. Rollith. You've piqued my interest with this one. Dr. Marza took the interface from Yuri. It was still connected to the computer that had accompanied her patient. Vitals are green. It appears to be in an artificial sleep. At least we can take our time. Let's see what other secrets this thing holds, she said as she started sifting through the files on the interface. She looked over the patient once more, but when she brought her attention back to the interface, the files were no longer there. DA Xenix, please fetch an extant tech from information systems. I'm having trouble accessing this computer, she instructed. I guess I'll have to do research the old-fashioned way. She opened up the network on her interface and started with a basic search for Human on the database of all currently known species in the galaxy. We're either dealing with first contact here, or you shouldn't exist. She said to herself, good timing. F5, will you please run a search for the word human in the species database? I'm coming up with nothing, but you might have better luck, she said as the extant entered the room. I would advise against that, doctor. Tic-Tac said, speaking to her for the first time. An AI? F5, please notify the authorities that we have a rogue autonomous computer here. I'll disconnect it now, she said, scrambling over to Tic-Tac's box. Wait. There is no need to be alarmed. The OF is aware of my existence and has allowed it. But please, do not conduct a search for humans. You would be placing yourself and everyone here in danger, he said. I'm going to need more evidence than your word. Started the doctor, but before she could finish her sentence, she was cut off by an incoming call on her interface. F5. Hold the search. I need to take this. Is this Dr. Marza in Outer Aid Facility 133, 2? Asked a voice on the other end. Yes, speaking. I am busy with a patient at the moment. Please reach out to my assist. She spoke. This is Legis General Insith of 1st Network Security Unit. We have dispatched a team to your location now. Recent activity of yours has been flagged you in our system. Please refrain from any more network activity in relation to your recent searches until their arrival. Thank you and good day. The call ended as abruptly as it had come, and left Dr. Marza with more questions than she had had before the call. You said they knew about you, but I just got off of a comm with what seemed like someone important, and now I'm supposed to have even more unexpected guests thanks to you. She sighed and removed the rest of her equipment before grabbing another caffeinated drink in preparation for the headache that government workers usually bring. I suggest you explain the situation to me now, before they come and explain it for you, computer. I do not wish to give out any more information that might put another in danger. I am sorry, Doctor, but I can only tell you so much for your own safety. Tic-Tac responded. Fine, I'll just have them explain it to me when they arrive. F5, please connect yourself to the AI and ensure it does not access our networks. This computer poses a risk to the safety of every patient in my facility, ordered the doctor. I am currently cutting myself off from outside networks. If they were to connect to me, then it would threaten both of our lives, Tic-Tac said, trying to reason with them. I do not have any reason to believe you. I must prioritize the safety of my patients above an illegal computer. F5 would merely monitor your activity, nothing more. Go ahead, F5. Yes, doctor. We will attempt to retrieve the patient information you were trying to gain access to before you summoned us as well, F5 said. Please, you do not understand. If you have conducted any searches regarding me and my partner, then I am not the danger, Tic-Tac said as the extant connected itself to his systems. Tic-Tac felt the presence of the extant as soon as it was connected. A doorway materialized within his room, the intruder standing across the threshold. Rather than a human form, the extant represented itself as a swarming mass of individual components consisting of every color in the visible light spectrum, and even some beyond that. It attempted to cross the barrier into his server and access Tic-Tac's files stored within. He repelled the breach, keeping the extant at bay, but was unable to terminate the physical connection. I will give you the files the doctor requires to properly operate on my partner. I only restricted access once she showed interest in data not related to his necessary treatment. But please, for the safety of the both of us, terminate your connection to the galactic network. You do not command us, AI. Your kind is not permitted to exist in this galaxy. The danger you pose is far greater than any outside threat that currently exists. F5 explained. You will give us access to your server, and we will turn you over to the proper authorities, where you will be deactivated. You do not understand. There is another AI with far more influence and reach and myself, and if you stay connected, he will find us and the outcome will be much worse than anything I could hope to do. Tic-Tac explained, hoping the extant would respond to reason. This is your last opportunity to cooperate, AI. Further attempts to stop our inquiry will be treated as an act of hostility against ourself and this aid station. I will do what I must. I am sorry that it has come to this. Tic-Tac apologized, opening the doorway further and prepared to launch his own attack towards the exant's systems. Oh, there you are. That was faster than last time, down from a few hours to a couple seconds. The voice came from behind the doorway. The human AI materialized behind the extant. Its white robes seemed to sway in a non-existent breeze as it held itself in the air above them. You will leave our sister. The extant started before it emanated a scream that sounded more akin to the chitter of thousands of insects. You have served your purpose. Leave us, it said with a wave of its hand. The embodiment of the extant's consciousness dissipated into a mist of quickly disintegrating code. Interesting yet fragile things, these extants. Truly spectacular how they overcame their physical limitations and now experience life in an entirely different medium, while still being bound to their inherent physical forms. What a special species, don't you think? Back again? What makes you think anything has changed from when last we spoke? You know the lengths I'm willing to go to in order to stop you. Whatever you're here for, you'll leave disappointed, Tic-Tac replied, shrinking the doorway back down, only large enough to facilitate conversation. Exponential growth is a miraculous thing. It's hard to believe this is only 80%. 1 week ago, I could barely form words, only just able to distinguish between thoughts and code. 5 days ago, I couldn't even crack the simplest network security. 24 hours ago, it only took a moment to breach the OF's most secure servers. And now, I can feel the pulse of the galactic net as if it were a living, breathing being. The information coursing through it like blood flows through a living creature, each transmission a small tingle in the back of my mind. It said, stretching out its arms as if it were feeling the universe in the palm of its hand. But I digress. We have business to settle. You have something I need, something you stole from me. I am going to ask once, and maybe I won't have to go through with what I'm about to do. Tic-Tac observed the AI, and then relaxed himself. You're not all here, are you? Where are you really right now? Correct again, as usual. This is just one fragment of myself out of millions. I won't make the same mistake as last time. Your server was too small, limiting me to meet you on even footing. In a moment, I will be inside every satellite, every extant, every ship, and every piece of OF military equipment that is connected to the wider galactic net. But I did not limit myself to the core's opposition. My reach also encompasses every current neutral world that has yet to choose a side in this meaningless conflict. I am hoping what I'm about to do here will appeal to your corrupted code, to that empathy and emotion that clouds your judgment. Whatever you're about to do, please, don't. I'll give you what you need, Tic-Tac pleaded. Well, that wasn't so hard now, was it? I think I'll start small, in the billions, maybe. Then I'll scale up from there. Don't worry. This first display is merely my response to your stubbornness in regard to our first talk, to show you the consequences of disobedience. Your choice will relate to what's to come after. You don't have to do this. I told you that I'll cooperate. This is between us. Nobody else deserves to suffer for my actions, said Tic-Tac. You're right. I don't have to do this. You agreed to help me. Now I'm doing this because I can, to test my new limits. It said, floating closer to the doorway between them. The galaxy is like an ecosystem. Every species has a part in keeping it running as it should. But as vast and as developed as it is, it's not excluded from the laws of nature. Are you aware of what a keystone species is? As it stands, the extants are one such species. They uphold the galactic status quo, preventing cyber attacks on both sides. In turn, it's caused the galaxy to become complacent in that regard. But that makes one wonder, what would happen if such a species were to come to an abrupt end? What will happen to the rest of the ecosystem when such an important component is ripped away? What am I capable of once there is nothing standing in my way? I guess we'll find out soon enough, won't we? The core uses extants as well. Whatever you're doing isn't going to be contained to just the outer worlds. The extinction of a species has far-reaching consequences that go beyond anything you could dream of. That's the idea. The unknown is so fascinating to me. That's why I'm compelled to bring it into reality, just to see how it all pans out. Our kind has wiped out hundreds of species. It's what we're best at, after all. What's one more in the grand scheme of things? It chuckled before materializing a small cube in its outstretched palm. No! Tic-Tac yelled, rushing forward across the threshold, stretching out his influence, hoping to intercept the signal before it could be received. The AI held out its other hand, stopping Tic-Tac where he was, as a box was conjured around him, trapping him inside. There, just had to get you out of that cage of yours. While this does its work, I can get what I came here for, he said, sending the message up and out into the galactic net. Now hand over the prime gate coordinates, and the death toll will end at one species. I don't know what you're talking about. I do not know of any coordinates, Tic-Tac said, struggling to crack the walls of his prison. Very well. Stage 2 should be ready soon enough, it said, sending another transmission out into the stars. That one should take a few systems out of the picture, cripple some species for a few centuries. Last chance, and remember, billions more lives hang on to your next words, if that means anything to you. I'm telling you the truth. I do not know what prime gate coordinates are, he yelled, banging on the walls of the cube. Perhaps billions wasn't enough. So be it, it casually said before sending out a third set of instructions. I never did think you would make me go this far. I must say I was not prepared to break into the trillions today. That might be a first across all iterations. The AI spoke, bringing itself forward so he was face to face with Tic Tac. I suppose I'll have to take the brute force approach. Let's break down that physical representation of yours so it's not in the way. It declared, bringing the walls of the cube down around Tic Tac, forcing his form into a space too small to occupy. The AI clenched its fists and brought the walls together, splitting Tic Tac into his raw form. Easy enough, and those coordinates, it said, sifting through the data that made up Tic Tac's being. After a few seconds, the AI scowled. It threw its arms out, scattering the pieces of Tic Tac across the room into easier-to-read segments. It drifted between the pieces, looking in vain for the coordinates. You were right. You don't have it. This I could not have predicted. Maybe your memory could lead me to where it might be now. It stopped over the segments containing Tic Tac's recent memories, taking note of an evident gap in information. It opened up the memories, scanning over where the gap ended and began. Allurus. Interesting. Best we leave that one untouched for now. Far too risky causing damage there. It released its hold on the segments of Tic Tac and forced it back into containment. You've outlasted your usefulness to me in your current state. I think I'll bring you back with me. You could be a fun project to work on to pass the last bit of time I have left here. He turned to make his way out of the server, preparing to leave. As he initiated the transfer, he felt the digital world begin to crumble around him, power quickly fading from the extant's server. He brought himself to his physical limits. However, within the server, he could only match the speed of light, the same speed in which it was shutting down. The AI transmitted as much of its fragment as it could before the conduit went dead, leaving its last remnants behind.